a machine built to survive explosions, bullets, artillery fragments, and direct battlefield combat can now be destroyed by something small enough to fit inside a backpack. For decades, tanks represented dominance on the battlefield. Their thick armor, massive cannons, and terrifying presence made them symbols of military power across the world. Entire defensive positions could collapse under the pressure of advancing armored formations. But modern warfare is changing faster than many expected. Today, a small FPV drone costing only a few $100s can track, hunt, and destroy armored vehicles worth millions. And this transformation is forcing militaries around the world to rethink one of the most powerful weapons ever created. Because the battlefield is no longer controlled only by heavy armor, massive armies, and expensive technology. Now, tiny flying machines equipped with cameras and explosives are changing the balance of war itself. For more than 100 years, tanks dominated ground warfare. Since their first appearance during World War I, tanks evolved into symbols of military strength and battlefield superiority. They were designed to break through enemy lines, survive heavy fire, and provide overwhelming support for infantry forces. Over time, military engineers continuously improved their mobility, firepower, and armor protection, turning tanks into highly advanced combat platforms capable of operating in some of the most dangerous environments imaginable. Modern main battle tanks such as the Abrams, Leopard 2, Challenger 2, and T-90 are among the most sophisticated land weapons ever built. Their armor systems combine steel, ceramics, composites, and explosive reactive protection designed to stop incoming anti-tank missiles and kinetic penetrators. Many tanks also carry advanced thermal optics, laser rangefinders, battlefield communication systems, and stabilization technology that allows accurate fire while moving at high speed. Some modern variants even include active protection systems capable of detecting and intercepting incoming threats before impact. These vehicles are not simply armored cars with large guns. They are mobile fortresses engineered for survival and battlefield dominance. A single modern tank can cost several $1,000,000 depending on equipment and configuration. Maintaining them also requires enormous logistical support, highly trained crews, fuel supply chains, spare parts, and continuous maintenance. Many military strategists believe tanks would remain the backbone of land warfare far into the future. But history shows that every dominant weapon eventually encounters a new threat capable of changing warfare completely. And this time, that threat arrived from above. At first, drones were mainly used for reconnaissance and surveillance missions. Militaries deployed them to monitor enemy positions, gather intelligence, and observe battlefields without risking pilots or expensive aircraft. Larger military drones became valuable tools for long-range operations because they allowed commanders to see enemy movement in real time. But as commercial drone technology expanded worldwide, smaller drones became cheaper, more accessible, and surprisingly capable. Lightweight quadcopters, originally designed for photography and recreational use, suddenly gained military relevance. People quickly realized that a drone does not need to be large or expensive to become dangerous. With simple modifications, commercial drones could carry explosives, grenades, or improvised munitions. Some were transformed into FPV drones, meaning first-person view systems where operators wear goggles connected directly to the drone's onboard camera. This allows pilots to control the drone with incredible precision while flying at high speed directly toward a target. Unlike traditional guided missiles, FPV drones are extremely inexpensive. Some can be assembled using commercially available parts at very low cost. Yet despite their small size, they can still threaten armored vehicles, defensive positions, and military infrastructure. This completely changed the economics of warfare. For the first time in modern military history, weapons costing only hundreds or thousands of dollars could destroy equipment worth millions. The battlefield was no longer dominated solely by the side with the most expensive machines. Cheap technology suddenly became capable of producing strategic impact far beyond its cost. Modern tanks were designed primarily to survive threats coming from the front. Their thick frontal armor protects against enemy tank rounds, anti-tank missiles, and direct battlefield fire. Engineers focused heavily on frontal survivability because traditional ground combat usually involved enemies attacking horizontally across the battlefield. But drones introduced an entirely different threat axis. Instead of approaching from the front, FPV drones attack from above, targeting areas where armor is significantly thinner. The top section of many tanks is far less protected compared to the heavily reinforced front armor. This is because older battlefield threats rarely attacked vertically from the sky at close range. FPV drones exploit this weakness with devastating efficiency. Operators can guide drones directly toward vulnerable points such as the turret roof, rear engine compartment, ammunition storage areas, exposed hatches, or observation systems. Even relatively small explosive payloads can damage optics, disable mobility systems, ignite fuel, or trigger catastrophic secondary explosions inside the vehicle. Another major problem is battlefield visibility. Modern warfare is becoming increasingly transparent because drones constantly monitor movement from above. Hiding large armored vehicles is now far more difficult than in previous wars. Tank engines generate heat signatures detectable by thermal cameras. Tracks leave visible marks across terrain. Vehicle movement creates dust and disturbances that drones can observe from long distances. This means tanks are often detected long before they reach combat positions. Instead of operating as hidden armored predators, tanks themselves are increasingly becoming hunted targets. The danger posed by drones is not only physical but also psychological. Tank crews now operate under the constant awareness that threats may appear at any moment from above. A small buzzing sound in the sky can create immediate tension because even a tiny drone may carry enough explosives to disable or destroy the vehicle. Unlike traditional artillery strikes, drones can observe targets continuously, waiting patiently for the perfect opportunity to attack vulnerable positions. This constant surveillance changes how soldiers experience the battlefield. In earlier wars, tank crews mainly feared enemy tanks, anti-tank missiles, landmines, or artillery bombardments. Today, they must also monitor the sky every second. The possibility of sudden top-down attacks creates continuous mental pressure during operations. Even when drones are not actively attacking, their presence alone can reduce mobility, slow decision-making, and force crews to remain concealed for extended periods. The psychological impact becomes even more severe when multiple drones operate together. One drone might fail or miss its target, but large numbers of cheap drones attacking simultaneously create overwhelming pressure. This concept, often called drone swarm warfare, represents one of the most concerning developments in modern combat. Instead of relying on a single expensive missile, militaries can deploy numerous low-cost drones capable of saturating defenses through sheer quantity. The battlefield becomes filled with persistent airborne threats that are difficult to predict and difficult to stop completely. One of the most important aspects of modern drone warfare is economics. Military power has always depended partly on the ability to balance effectiveness with production cost. Drones changed this balance dramatically. Imagine a drone costing $1,000 successfully destroying a tank worth $8 million. Financially, that exchange is devastating. Even if the tank survives, damage to optics, sensors, communications equipment, or mobility systems can still require extremely expensive repairs and maintenance. Replacing modern armored vehicles is neither quick nor simple. Production lines are limited, manufacturing requires advanced industrial capabilities, and crew training takes years. Tanks also consume enormous logistical resources including fuel, spare parts, transportation systems, and specialized maintenance personnel. Meanwhile, FPV drones can often be assembled rapidly using commercially available components at relatively low cost. This creates a dangerous imbalance where cheaper weapons can continuously threaten far more expensive systems. This situation is often described as asymmetric warfare. Smaller or less wealthy forces can now challenge stronger militaries using inexpensive but highly effective technology. The side spending less money may still inflict significant battlefield losses on opponents operating advanced equipment. This is one reason why countries around the world are investing heavily into drone production, counter-drone defenses, electronic warfare systems, and AI-assisted battlefield technologies. Ignoring drone warfare is no longer an option because the cost imbalance has become impossible to overlook. Despite the growing drone threat, tanks are not disappearing from the battlefield. Instead, militaries are rapidly adapting their tactics and technology to improve survivability. One of the most visible battlefield adaptations is the use of cage armor, sometimes called cope cages. These metal structures are mounted above tanks in an attempt to interfere with drone impacts and reduce explosive penetration. While they may appear improvised or unusual, they represent the urgent need to respond quickly to evolving threats. Electronic warfare is also becoming increasingly important. Many modern military vehicles now carry jamming systems designed to disrupt communication signals between drones and their operators. If the signal connection breaks, the drone may lose control before reaching its target. Some systems can interfere with navigation frequencies or disable drone guidance systems entirely. Electronic warfare is becoming one of the key defensive layers in modern armored operations. More advanced solutions involve active protection systems, often called APS. These systems use sensors, radar, and automated countermeasures to detect and intercept incoming threats before impact. Future versions may become capable of engaging drones automatically using rapid-fire weapons, interceptors, or even laser-based defenses. Artificial intelligence is also being integrated into threat detection systems capable of identifying small aerial targets faster than human crews. Modern tanks are increasingly operating as part of larger interconnected combat networks involving infantry, reconnaissance drones, air defense systems, and electronic warfare support. Because in today's battlefield, a tank operating alone is far more vulnerable than ever before. The rise of drone warfare is changing more than battlefield tactics. It is transforming military doctrine itself. Future wars may become dominated by networks of sensors, drones, artificial intelligence systems, autonomous vehicles, and electronic warfare capabilities operating together simultaneously. The battlefield is increasingly becoming an information war where detection speed, targeting accuracy, and real-time coordination are just as important as armor thickness or firepower. Drones are no longer simply support tools used for reconnaissance. They are becoming central elements of combat operations. Some military developers are already testing autonomous drone swarms capable of coordinating attacks with minimal human control. Others are developing AI-assisted targeting systems designed to process battlefield data faster than human operators. In future conflicts, thousands of unmanned systems could operate simultaneously across land, sea, air, and even space environments. This raises important questions about the future role of traditional armored warfare. Can tanks continue surviving in battlefields filled with cheap autonomous weapons and constant aerial surveillance? Will future tanks become heavily networked combat platforms protected by AI systems and advanced anti-drone defenses? Or will warfare shift increasingly toward unmanned systems capable of replacing many traditional battlefield roles? No one knows exactly how future warfare will evolve, but one thing is already clear. The era where heavy armor alone guaranteed battlefield dominance is rapidly coming to an end. For decades, tanks symbolized power, protection, and battlefield superiority. They were designed to survive extreme combat conditions and dominate ground warfare through armor and firepower. But modern warfare is proving that size, cost, and heavy armor no longer guarantee survival. Today, small drones controlled from far away can threaten some of the most advanced armored vehicles ever created, fundamentally changing how militaries think about warfare. Cheap drones are transforming battlefield tactics, military economics, and global defense strategies. They are forcing armies to adapt faster than ever before while accelerating the development of counter-drone technologies, electronic warfare systems, and AI-assisted defense networks. The battlefield is becoming smarter, faster, and more unpredictable with every passing year. And in this new era of warfare, even the smallest machines can create massive strategic impact. Because modern war is no longer decided only by who has the biggest weapons or the thickest armor. It is increasingly decided by who can adapt the fastest to a battlefield where technology evolves faster than tradition.